Alright, so that's where my onion soil's sitting at right now, just about 7. I want to get it down to about 5.5. I put the tea in, we'll see where it's at tomorrow. Alright, so what do we got going on here? You can see the top greenhouse covers are off now. Most of our plants are up. See, some are long and strangly. Most of the tomatoes are too. But what's this all about? Well, I got a few seeds that haven't come up. I kind of want that greenhouse effect still. See if I can get them to come up yet. And so, see there, those came up. They weren't up the other day. So just that being on there helped them come up. Again, right there. So some of these, they were starting to get all bunched up in there, so I took the tops off. Now I'm watching really close because I water them down through here underneath, and I'm watching them. See, it's empty water now. But that's what I want, still moist, but I want the water to go away. There's puddles of water down in the bottom of some of these, and there has been for a while. Yeah, that one's dried up too. So for today, I'll probably just let them go, let them dry up a little bit. That's going to draw the roots down. You know, let them concentrate on the roots. I'm not going to transplant them yet because as soon as I up pot them, they're going to get bigger. And I don't want them to get bigger right now. I'm going to wait until about the first week of March, which is another week and a half or so. Maybe the end of the first week of March. And then I'll up pot them. Maybe even the middle of March actually, so that they're a good sized plant come April, when I think I can move them out to my greenhouse, because it's too cold out there right now for my plants, and it's easier for me to start them in here, so that doesn't bother me. But I may put a greenhouse in the greenhouse if it is too cold in April. But as soon as it stays above 50 degrees in there, preferably 55 degrees inside the greenhouse all night, which should be somewhere in April, these will all get moved out there. And I got a couple ideas that I'm going to improve on that. The greenhouse also, which might buy me some more time, both in the spring and the winter. Now I started my pumpkin. This is the 1,000-pound pumpkin. Well, been known to grow up to 1,000 pounds. A lot of these Cherokees are up. Some of them got 3 or 4 of them up, and that's the ones I put in from the paper towel. And look, this guy's breaking through. I don't even know what it is. I pulled these out. They were watermelons. Alright, so I got some aroma, seeds of change, aroma paste tomatoes that I'm going to try this year. I had some Amish paste last year, and I did save some seeds, but I wasn't real impressed with them, so I'm trying to change up my Roma tomato. Onions died, all of them. So we got some new onions. These are yellow Spanish onions, long day onions, and I'm going to replant these. This is now the end of February, like February 23rd. Good luck, little buddies. Now still. And I want to reduce these trays and up pot some of this stuff, especially my cabbages and things, and just go over everything and see what's actually come up, what I have as far as what I need, and then maybe reduce these trays so I have some more room for the pots that we're going to up pot from transplanting these. Now the first thing I'm going to do is wet these with a
compost tea,
some water that has some good nutrients in it. I'm going to show you that here in a second, but I want to make sure these plants have good food, but they're not overly fertilized. So We don't want to burn them or kill them. We don't want to stress them out too much. This transplant's going to be stressful anyway, so I'm picking a good warm afternoon so that they have minimal stress, and we're going to be as gentle and as we can with these plants, whichever ones we are going to transplant. But let's just take a look right now before we get started, and I'll show you some of the plants that I've planted this year because I've not done that yet. Late Dutch cabbage. It looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4. The broccoli rayab, planted 3 seeds apiece, never grew that. Oh no, here's another late Dutch. There's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 late Dutch. 5 late Dutch, and it looks like that other one's coming up if I can get some sunlight in there. Maybe. Cool. We got broccoli rab. Regular broccoli. Broccoli rab is just like 1/2 inch little, you know how the broccoli heads get real big? Broccoli rab just has a bunch of little ones. So kind of like mega size.
Microgreens.
Brussels sprouts. That says cauliflower. These are the Black Beauty eggplants. Most of those come up. Some of them were being slow. So I've added this top to it. Now right here's my green bell peppers, but it looks like that's a bell pepper too, and that's coming up with my eggplant. So I don't know if something spilled over, if I dropped a seed. But that kind of stuff kind of happens. See right here? Now this is new this year for me. And this is a white knight eggplant. And I did have, let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6 come up and are doing well. White knight eggplant. We do like our eggplant, so that's one we're looking forward to this year. This is a carnival type pepper, which means multicolored. But every year I've grown them, they come out black for me. They are a good sweet pepper, but they've always come out black. Now I don't know, maybe we'll get multicolored peppers, but those are a good pepper regardless. They're a good producer. You get nice sized fruit off of it, and so we've always grown them for the last I think 5 years. This green bell pepper, see I got another one down there just coming up. Green bell peppers. Now we're getting into our hot peppers. This is a jumbo. It's kind of a mild hot pepper, but they're gigantic. And this is our Hatch chilies that we got from Hatch, New Mexico last year. Somebody sent us some Hatch chilies. Actually, my brother-in-law, Tammy's brother, from Hatch, New Mexico. And we saved some seeds, and they were up. Now those peppers were 18 inches long. They were humongous, and they were hot. I tried stuffing them, and I like hot stuff. I couldn't eat them. That's how hot they were, and gigantic. So good, and those came up 100%. Planted 3, and 3 came up. I have some Trichia jalapenos here. Now these are no heat jalapenos. We grew them for the first time last year. They could be a hybrid. I'm not sure, but they were wonderful. Tammy loved them. They had the flavor of a jalapeno, no heat. Well, we've planted seeds twice, and we have not had any come up. So I don't know how those are going to do, but I'm not going to give up on those because we really enjoyed them. None of my regular reapers from last year. I had those red scorpion tail looking reapers. That Everything Spicy said was one of the hottest peppers he's ever eaten. So way over the million on the Scoville for sure. And this year I have a yellow reaper that we've had that we got from a friend, a chocolate reaper that we got from a friend. These little orange peppers, they were super hot. I loved them. They were tiny though. Smallest pepper I ever saw, but orange and hot. That came up. Oh no, this is the long brown pepper, and some of these I don't even know what they are, but we tried them. We liked them. Saved the seeds. These are fruit we got from other people last year because I didn't have a lot of peppers. I've grown sweet peppers and a few hot peppers and some jalapenos. And last year I grew a Reaper and it was huge. It was like 4 foot tall and 3.5 foot wide. You can go back and see that on some of our videos from last year, Garden 2020. But that Reaper was gigantic. And it had a ton of fruit on it. So I thought, this year I'm going to grow some peppers. There's a long red type looking pepper. And then we have some orange ghost pepper. And the yellow ghost pepper. And the yellow ghost pepper's up. And then this is that lemon hot pepper that I'm starting this year that I talked about early when we were putting seeds in. And this is this Courbaki pepper that Arkansas Woodcutter sent me. And neither one of those have come up yet. But we're right at about 14 days now. So maybe a little over. They could still come up. These are orange cherry tomatoes. Hard to read my writing sometimes. Light yellow cherry tomatoes. Purple cherry tomatoes. And this is a tomato that just says tomato. Oh no, these are Tammy G's. These are the Tammy G's, which we found a few years ago. And they come up independently. Like crazy. These Tammy G's are an excellent heirloom cherry tomato. They give bell-shaped red tomatoes. They taste delicious. I think some of those plants were, I mean, they probably had a 5 to 6 foot radius, and they were just everywhere. Like, they go crazy. I can fill an entire 6 foot concrete pad, you know, trellis. We make trellises out of concrete pad, and I can fill that whole thing up and then bust over with this cherry tomato. And they come up independently really well. So you can just kind of leave them out there and they'll come back every year. We got some mortgage lifters back here. I really like the flavor of those. I think that's one of the asparagus beans I planted just to see what it come up like. That's something new we're growing this year. They're 3 foot long red seeded beans. So that ought to be interesting. But we're going to wet these pots down. And I'm going to show you what I use to do that with right now. Alright, so this is our 5-gallon bucket. And we fill it with, when Tammy goes out and changes some of the chicken water, which she brings the water that has the poop and stuff in it. And we pour it right in here. And then this also has some apple cider vinegar and some other high acidic things. They can bring the pH balance down in your soil and add nutrients to your soil. And you don't have to open the lid. You just squirt it out. And then water. I do a squirt or two. And this is from an old like laundry soap squirter. You know, you buy a 5-gallon bucket of laundry soap. And then you can just dispense it right here. Well, we just cleaned it all out, and this is what we use. And we'll put our watering can in there, squirt that in there, dilute it with some water, and then that's what we add to our plants. Now, I do check everything to make sure I don't get it down too low. Most of these plants like about 6 to 7 on the pH, and that's where we'd like to keep it at the start, right around 6.5. So I'm not exactly sure how many plants I've pulled out. I just basically separated my colder weather plants. There's a mortgage lifter. I need to do something with that. And I'm trying to get rid of this tray completely. Now I do have this thing that's up, and I planted some lettuce, but I may put that on another shelf because I'd like to use this where this tray was for all of these that I'm going to up pot. And I'm only doing the colder weather plants right now because once you up pot them, they go through a pause stage and then they'll start getting a lot bigger. And I just don't want that to my tomatoes yet. It's still February, and I can't plant my tomatoes The last frost is like May 10th, and they're calling for a very wet year. So, and I'm only doing my cold weather plants because the tomatoes and peppers can't go out until after the last frost, and around here that's May 10th. Now they're calling for a very wet year this year, and a few years ago I planted my garden right after the last frost and would have done well, was starting to do really well, and then we got a few weeks of rain and everything pretty much got drowned and died, and a lot of people had that issue. So since they're calling for a wet year, instead of chancing it, I'm going to try to hold them inside for a week or two later than what I usually put out. But I'd like them to be still at the stage that they should be if I would plant them out there. So that's why I'm up potting them, and I'm going to a little deeper. It's more of like a geranium pot. It's, I think, 5 inches deep, 3 inches across. So should give it plenty of root base, and we'll have a good start for the season. So when you go to plant or transplant, you want very little stress. So some things you'll need is some things to break apart the soil, break apart these. Make sure you're not really disturbing these roots too much. Now, I like to push the whole pod out. These are Brussels sprouts. Push the whole pod out. Try to get that whole pod out as a whole without letting it break apart too much. We're going to make a nice deep hole. This point has root system, so the closer to the bottom you can get it, the more it's going to be fed more consistently. Ooh. See? Lots of things can happen. See how they were hugging each other? That probably wasn't intrusive. When you're putting them in there, you don't want to break them, but see how long those stems are from sitting in there? Well, make sure you kind of center that. Get it down there as far as you can. That gives it a nice long base. You get them roots all the way down to the bottom. You got some extra dirt around. I didn't fill them up all the way because I knew I'd have to do this. Go. We're going to move these over to here so we have a good tray to water them in. This soil is already nice and moist. And hopefully that's all the stress that plant's going to get for right now. Now, how many Brussels sprouts did we want, Tammy? Because we got a ton of these. And I may just leave some of these in here so they don't grow so fast, but I want the ones that we are going to use.
Let's say 6 to 8.
6 to 8.
Do you think that's enough? Your mom and dad like them too, though. Is that enough?
I think. See how I'm using this little bamboo skewer? Move these around without breaking them. Untangle them without breaking them. Not too much stress. Gotta be gentle. And I'm like a bull in a china factory. I break everything. That's hard for me. These little guys are hard for me to get apart. Might be easier for some people. But we're gonna get 6 or 8 of these transplanted into pots. I'm going to put this on time lapse, and we'll get this done, and I'll show you what we're going to do next. Well, I thought about throwing in some background music while you watch this, but I decided to use this time to tell you about our new series, the Single Seed Challenge 21. That's hashtag Single Seed Challenge 21. We've posted planting Marge and Betty. You can go back and watch that, and we'll update on Saturdays. Now we take all the soil that was left in these and we dump it back into our soil bucket. And these beets, these are all beets. We're going to plant these into a pot, a larger pot. I'm going to grow beets in this pot. We're going to start more beets later. Outside. I don't have a lot of room in here, so I have to be selective what we can grow and what we can't right now. And, beets are on there, but probably only about this many for right now. Okay. There we go. And now we have a tray for, we can keep them watered. I have to find a spot for this and this bean. Bean. I've got Romas that we got in the mail the other day, planted, and this. So probably use this as a tray, and this is the top. Good to go. That's going to go in the window, and this is going to have to find the spot. So I'll clean up my mess. Remember, guys, out there and grow something. This is Jeff and Tammy saying subscribe to our channel, like this video, stay tuned, and till next time.
Peace, y'all.
Peace, y'all.